Minecraft Superflat has always intrigued me. Whether it's the lack of structures or the limited resources, I've always wondered what it would be like to play it in survival. How far can I push myself in a flat world? How much progress can I really make? So I put my knowledge to the test and I spent 100 days in a super flat world in Minecraft. On day 1, I spawned next to a village, so of course the first thing I had to do was go destroy it. I started by stealing one of the beds and ransacking the houses for chests. And while I was making my tools, I was already getting super annoyed by the slimes. Like, why did it have to be slimes? Why couldn't it have been, like, dogs or something? And the village ended up having 2 blacksmiths, which is, like, extremely rare. And one of the chests had a diamond and a saddle in it. And I thought that was pretty cool. So it was day 1 and I already had almost full iron. I made a bucket and grabbed some lava because I was going to use it for a cobblestone generator, and then it was time to head out and search for a place to call home. By the end of day 1, I found another village and I decided to just stay there for the night because there was way too many mobs spawning. As I was checking the chest, I ended up finding a compass, which I figured could be useful. I stole some clay and killed the golem for iron before heading back out. By the end of day 2, I made a friend and we rode off into the sunset together. The next day, I found another village with a blacksmith and I ultimately decided to just put my base there because I don't think it was going to get any better than that. I lit up the area with some torches to prevent a bunch of mobs from spawning, and then it was time to start working on my cobblestone generator, and for some reason I could not remember how to make it, and I'm just going to leave this here. Then a wandering trader decided to spawn and he actually had dark oak saplings, and I was so excited but also kind of panicking because I didn't have a Fletcher yet. So I quickly made one and began trading for emeralds because I needed to get 4 of the saplings in order to grow just 1 tree. After finally getting all the saplings that I needed, I planted them and finished up my cobblestone generator. And of course the slimes were really getting on my nerves. I also made an infinite water pole and started planting all of my oak saplings. And I made this very unattractive, unappealing cow pen, but it's fine, okay, it's temporary anyways. Then I decided to just get some dye from the wandering trader because he was going to despawn anyways, and I spent the rest of the night fighting mobs. The next day, I made some leads and dragged some cows into the pen that I made. Then it was time to chop down my dark oak tree and try to get more saplings. I spent the rest of the day getting dirt so I could use it to outline the walls of my base. I spent days 7 through 9 gathering resources, breeding my cows, and placing dirt to map out the walls of my base. I wanted to do something kind of circular and symmetrical. I know it's already been done like 100 times, but I just felt like it would be easiest for me. Then I made a little farm because I had like no food sources at all. And I was getting so tired of the slimes slapping me, so I made a shield to fight them off. And these pillager guys decided to spawn, so I just put them in a boat because I did not want to start a raid. I spent days 10 through 13 working on the walls of my base. I used oak to map out exactly how I wanted everything to look, and then I replaced some of the oak with some dark oak, and then stripped it because I just thought it looked way better. And here's me adding details to the walls. I know I could have done more, but I decided, you know what, sometimes basic is best. The next day I worked with my cows some more because I just needed steak so bad. Like, I was so tired of eating apples and potatoes. Then I got to work building the entrance to my base, and I mean, that didn't turn out that bad, I think. And then I removed all the dirt from the inside of my base and moved all of my stuff inside, including my infinite water pole, my cobblestone generator, and my farm. And on day 16, I decided I wanted to go find some obsidian at a blacksmith, and if it wasn't obvious enough, I literally forgot that I had a horse. I ended up finding a blacksmith, but it did not have any obsidian. But the village did have a horse, so I was able to get a new one. And every single chest that I found did not have any obsidian. But then it hit me. Maybe I just need to find 2 more diamonds, make a diamond pickaxe with the one I already have at my base, and then use my water bucket to make obsidian with the lava that's at the blacksmith's. Like, why didn't I just think of that? And sure enough, I was able to find 2 more diamonds, so I just went with plan B. After using the compass to find my way back, I dropped off all my stuff and made a diamond pickaxe. After making my diamond pickaxe, I found my original horse, hopped on, and went on a journey looking for lava. After gathering a few pieces of obsidian, I somehow stumbled across the stronghold. Okay. After gathering some wood from the nearby village, I used it to build up to the stronghold. I figured that if I could get into the portal room, I could use the lava that's in there to get the last few pieces of obsidian that I needed. And obviously I had to get the books from the library, you know me, but my inventory was getting so full and I wanted the loot from the chest because there were armor trims and some pretty decent enchantment books. Eventually I made my way into the portal room and got the last few pieces of obsidian that I needed. And I made sure to check to see how many eyes were in the portal before I left. I returned home on day 21 and built my portal, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I had no idea how to light it with lava. I watched like 3 different tutorials and none of them were working, so I finally got sick of it and I texted Ninten. I said, hey, bro, please help me. And so he told me how to do it and it worked, and I was just so relieved. I quickly made a bow just in case I had to fight some gas, and I grabbed a stack of dirt and hopped into my portal. And honestly, I was pretty happy with the spawn because it was right beside a warped forest, which meant I had another wood type. And of course, I had to trade with the piggies because I wanted to see if they would give me anything useful. Spoiler alert, they didn't. I gathered a bunch of the wood for my base as well as some shroom lights and some of the warp blocks. After gathering a little bit of everything, I went back in my portal and back to my base because I was ready to officially build a house. I was done living on dirt. So for days 23 through 26, I gathered more materials for my house, and I also moved stuff around my base so I could make room for it. I wanted to go with kind of like a castle type vibe. Also, I'm gonna be real with you guys, I had replay footage of me building this, but I guess it didn't save. I probably closed out of Minecraft too early, I don't know. But anyways, here's how it turned out. I think it looked kind of cool, especially with the warped wood since I didn't strip it. And I was gonna leave the doorway just open and empty, but I ended up deciding not to because I thought it would look kind of cool with the warped trapdoors. I didn't really do much for the interior. I just made the floor dark oak and then added a bunch of chests for storage, and of course I organized everything. Finally. On day 27, I added these warp blocks around the edges of the walls to give it some more dimension and some more color. Also, excuse how I sound right now, it's literally 1 in the morning. Yes, I stay up very late for you guys. Moving on, I ended up making my farm on the outer edges of the walls because I just felt like it looked way too empty. And yes, I know this is the 3rd time I've moved it. Leave me alone, okay? So yeah, that pretty much wrapped up days 27 and 28. I just expanded my base and gathered more wood. I don't really know what else to say about that. On day 29, I decided that my cows deserved better, so I upgraded their pen on the left side of my base. I wasn't trying to go for anything super aesthetic or super pretty, I just wanted something symmetrical and convenient. I introduced my cows to their new home, and I fed them some wheat because your girl needs steak, and then I made another one of these on the right side for sheep. And out of respect for my cows, I destroyed their old pen. Then it was time to go out and search for some sheep. I finally found some sheep on day 31 and managed to drag them into the pen without any casualties, thankfully. And I put a bell on my house because apparently that attracts wandering traders. I don't know if that's true or not. Don't yell at me! Then I spent the rest of the night fishing. The next day I decided to go in the nether and look for a fortress. And apparently I have really good luck with this stuff because I ended up finding one not even a minute into my exploration. So mission accomplished, I guess. I located one. That's kind of all I planned to do. After making it back to my base on day 32, I made a smithing table because I was ready to start trading for gear with my villagers, and I honestly should have started doing that from the beginning. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I just didn't think about it. After that, I began making some little stalls in my base for my gear villagers. I don't know what they're actually called, but that's what I'm gonna call them. And I really didn't do anything on day 33 other than continue working on the stalls. On day 34, I gathered wood for sticks so I could trade with my Fletcher, and then I traded with my gear villager a little bit, and I worked on the stalls some more. Oh, and I almost forgot, I also added flags to my base. On day 35, I started moving my villagers to their stalls. And of course, the slimes were not making it easy for me, but eventually I got it done. And I didn't have any more warped wood, so I decided to go to the nether and get some more. Then I returned and did a little bit more trading, and I bone milled the grass to make it look a little less flat. On day 36, I moved another villager into my base, and then I spent the entire day trading. And all I did on day 37 was make more villager stalls in the back of my base for my Fletchers. I started day 38 by tending to my crops and my cows. Then I spent some more time trading with my Fletcher and getting more wood for more sticks to trade with my Fletcher some more. And I wasted the next 2 days trying to get another Fletcher, but these stupid villagers would not turn into Fletchers. They just did not want to let go of their jobs for some reason, even after I broke literally everything. Okay, I'm not that dumb. And do I even want to mention the fact that my base caught on fire, so I had to move my cobblestone generator? And the second villager I brought did turn into a Fletcher, but his trades were wrong. So when I tried to fix it, he ran out and turned into a fisherman. And I could not get him to turn back into a jobless villager. Bro refused. Like, I'm not even joking right now. I literally broke every single barrel at my base, and bro did not want to turn back. After I calmed down, I placed all the barrels back down and let him go to the one that he was attached to. And after that, I broke it and was able to make him a Fletcher. I spent the next few days working with my villagers so I could get better tools and better armor. And for some reason, this nitwit was absolutely obsessed with this other villager. I don't know what happened. I guess I caused a divorce or something. After constant trading, I was finally able to trade for diamond armor, but the enchants were not that good. I was also able to trade for diamond tools, but they also weren't that good. I was really starting to get bored, so I decided to make some beds and go to the nether and mine for ancient debris. But I didn't want to waste too much time doing this because I was not confident in my ability to get full netherite in a flat world. I mean, I could probably do it if I searched for bastions manually, but as for duplicating smithing templates, I don't know. I'm unsure. When I returned back to my base, a wandering trader had actually spawned, so I guess the bell thing kind of worked, and he had sugarcane and jungle saplings, but I ultimately decided to just buy the sugarcane. I don't really use jungle wood. I collected all my wheat for bread because I was running out. Then I went back into the nether because I wanted to go find a smithing template at a bastion, which, like I said, I'm still unsure if I'm going to be able to duplicate them, unless I can trade for diamonds somehow. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. I'm not a pro Minecrafter, okay? I'll do some research. And after traveling like 1,000 blocks in the nether, I did find a bastion with a smithing template. After going back home, I smelted my ancient debris and I was able to make 2 netherite ingots, which is fine because like I said, I'm probably not going to be able to get full netherite because I only have 1 smithing template, and honestly, I don't think I'll have the energy to go looking for more. But first things first, I needed to get a diamond chest plate because that's what I wanted to turn into netherite. I made a 3rd Fletcher so I can make faster progress, and I was finally able to get the diamond chest plate I needed. And not only did I turn it into netherite, I also trimmed it along with the rest of my armor. I spent the next few days trying to get decent enchants to trade for, and unfortunately I smacked the villager in the face with my axe twice, so that meant I needed to go find a different village to trade at. I found a village not too far away, and fortunately, I was able to get mending for a not so expensive price, but it took me way too long. But while I was there, I decided to try and get another enchant, but I eventually settled on getting Feather Falling 4 for my boots, because honestly, I was just tired of looking at villagers all day. Like, this was taking me way too long. I was done. I was tired. So I went back home and threw mending on all of my armor and Feather Falling 4 on my boots. And before everyone starts screaming in my ear about disenchanting the armor before putting mending on it, it's okay. It's okay, alright? I'm not gonna go crazy on the enchants in a flat world. After that, I decided that it was time to start preparing to go into the end. So I hopped in my nether portal and I went to the fortress I found, and I also found a diamond in one of the chests. I honestly forgot that that was possible. And the fortress also had 3 blaze spawners connected. I don't know if I've ever experienced that either. After spending some time with the blazes, I ended up with 12 blaze rods, and I thought that was enough, so I decided to go to the warp forest and start grinding for ender pearls. But for some reason, there weren't a lot of endermen spawning, so I decided to just collect gold and start trading with the piggies. After getting enough pearls, I went back home and made some eyes. Then I went to sleep. On day 60, I left my base to go find the stronghold, and the ice kept taking me in the opposite direction of the stronghold I found before, but I was fine with it because I didn't think it really mattered. Eventually, I made it to the stronghold and I swam up, only to realize I didn't even have enough ice for the portal, so I had to go back down and kill some endermen for more. After placing the last eye in my portal, I did my pre-end dance and jumped in. And of course, I immediately got attacked by the endermen. Then it was time for my favorite part of defeating the end, and that is breaking the crystals. And even though it didn't take me long to defeat the dragon, I still had a lot of fun. I snatched the dragon egg and then I jumped into the portal and grabbed my blocks so I could go search for an elytra. And after many minutes of endless bridging, I finally found an end city with a ship. I towered straight up to the ship like I always do. And yay, I found an elytra after using like 5 stacks of blocks. I had to make sure I looked cool. The loot in the chest was pretty good, but it wasn't anything too special. I think I might have been more excited for the dragon head than I was for the elytra. I finally made it back home by the end of day 64. Oh my goodness, I was so tired and also so happy because I got a lot of cool stuff. The next day I made a blue shulker box because blue is one of my favorite colors. And as I was harvesting my wheat, I started thinking about ways to improve my base. And then I thought, what if I circled my base in a light source? So that's what I decided to do. So I spent the rest of the day in the nether getting glowstone and shroom lights. On day 66, I put my plan into action and began making holes for the glowstone and shroom lights. And I began placing it in this pattern, which I've done in other builds before, but don't judge me, okay? There's nothing wrong with reusing ideas. Then I decided to put a moat around the lights, but I wanted it to have some sort of convenience. And that's when I decided to surround it with sugarcane. I went back to the nether and got more glowstone and shroom lights because I wanted to do the same thing around my animal pins. And honestly, I really like how it turned out. I mean, I think it looks really pretty and it just lights up the area so well. But for the moat, I didn't want to use sugarcane around the pins, so I ended up hoeing the ground and placing my wheat instead. The next day I traded for more emeralds because I wanted to get another mending book for my elytra, but I did not want to travel all the way to the other village. So I had the brilliant idea of using the villager that I slapped in the face a couple times because I figured he wouldn't be mad at me anymore, right? I don't know why that sounded so sarcastic, but yeah, he's not mad at me anymore. After a few tries, he did turn into a mending villager, although it was a little pricey. I was okay with it because I was only going to use him once. I spent day 70 just doing chores around my base, breeding my cows, breeding my sheep, planting more sugarcane, and at the end of the night, I decided to put on my elytra and look at my base from the sky. I spent days 71 and 72 just chopping a lot of trees because I was ready to fully upgrade my toolsmith. And after an entire day of trading with my Fletchers, I was finally able to fully upgrade my toolsmith, and he gave me a diamond pickaxe, which didn't have super great enchants on it, but it was better than nothing. And at this point, I was starting to get a little bit bored. I kept wondering to myself, what more could I do in this world? This very flat world. And then I decided I was going to try and get full netherite. I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but I decided against myself because I knew that being lazy was not the answer. And after running through this crimson forest for like 10 minutes, I ended up coming across this gargantuan, giant, monstrous looking bastion. Yeah, there had to be some smithing templates up in there. And as I was being the cool Minecraft player that I am, my footage cut because apparently I ran out of disk space without realizing. But on the bright side, I ended up with some decent loot and I did get 2 smithing templates, so that was cool. But if I wanted to complete my armor, I had to get 1 more, so I went bastion hunting again, and I was getting so tired of being in the nether at this point. Like, my brain was starting to hurt. And after burning some brutes to death, I opened the chest and I felt like heaven's gate just opened. Oh my goodness, there was a smithing template. I did not have to travel like another 2,000 blocks in the nether. Oh, I was so relieved. I went back home and upgraded the last piece of my armor that I needed to have full netherite. Oh man, that was quite the journey if I do say so myself. At this point, I was getting super bored, so I decided that I was going to spend these last few days working super hard on my base to make it look way more epic and also a little more convenient because there were still some things that I felt like could be improved. I ended up building this elevated half circle type thingy. Also, I'm sorry for the floating trees. Yes, I know it's like one of the biggest sins of Minecraft, but I can't help it, okay? I don't like building all the way up just to break all the logs. It's really annoying. Anyways, as I was building, I was thinking really hard about what I wanted to put here. And I ended up deciding to move my nether portal because, I mean, I had flint at this point, so obviously I didn't have to use the freaking lava method again. And also, it wasn't gonna change positions in the nether because of how close it was. Along with the portal, I decided to make this my little brewing area as well. And I also made it my enchanting area. Yay! But I still needed 1 more diamond in order to make an enchantment table, so I went out and searched for one. The first few blacksmiths that I checked basically had nothing, but then I found this blacksmith, which had the most insane loot I have ever seen. I made it back to my base and I started crying because although I had an enchantment table, I didn't have any lapis. Just kidding, there is a way to get lapis in a flat world. Clerics exist for a reason. But before I went to get my cleric, I decided to use it as an opportunity to expand my base a little bit more, so I decided to make him a little house to live in. And as I was collecting wood for the house, a wandering trader spawned. And you'll never believe what he had to offer: pink dye. Pink dye! Of course I had to buy some, and I also bought a jungle sapling this time, just to have it, I guess. After I finished up the house for the cleric, I went and snatched him from his childhood home. After leveling up my cleric, I was able to get 1 lapis for 1 emerald, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's a fair price considering this is a flat world. I felt kind of weird about there only being 1 house, so I ended up making another one on the other side. I wanted the second house to be for my mending villager, but apparently he was dead. Not sure how that happened. So I gave the house to my 3rd Fletcher instead. And apparently he had a pet pig. That's cute, I guess. I connected a path to everything, then I bone mealed some grass because I thought it would add some more dimension. I was really starting to love how my base was looking, but the backside still seemed a bit empty, so I decided to make another half circle. I finished up the half circle the next day, and I ended up deciding to move my cobblestone generator on top of it because I was just tired of it sitting out in the open. Like, I wanted it to be part of my base somehow, and hopefully it doesn't catch anything on fire this time. And at this point, I was really struggling with what to do, so I just started breaking the trees that I left floating. The struggle was so evident that I just started tying my sheep. And then I spent some time fishing. And then I remembered, wait, I literally just got an enchantment table and a cleric. So why don't I enchant my tools and get better enchants? First I enchanted my diamond pickaxe and I got efficiency 4. And then I enchanted my axe, which also gave me efficiency 4. And then I enchanted my iron pickaxe just for fun, and it gave me silk touch. The next day I ran around my village looking for a cat, but I could not find one, so I was very sad. I finally decided to do something with the carrots and potatoes that I had. Not that I thought I was really going to use them, but I just figured, I might as well do something. I also decided to get some piggies because they are so cute. Then I placed these warped vine things around my base to make it look more cool. On day 93, I realized that there was actually something I had left to do, and that is defeat the Wither and get a beacon. But in order to do that, I needed looting 3, and I got looting 3 along with some other crazy enchants. I immediately got to work preparing to go to the Nether to grind for Wither skulls, and of course that meant killing a lot of my cows, which I felt kinda bad for. I waited for my steak to cook, then I jumped in my portal and went to the fortress. It took me a while to actually find some wither skeletons. I don't know why, they just weren't spawning as frequent as I'm used to, I guess. But eventually I found some and I ended up getting my first skull. Looting 3, you are the love of my life. Because if it wasn't for you, this would have taken me way longer than it actually did. After I got the last skull that I needed, I went back to my base and I started preparing. I grabbed the soul sand and put away all the other stuff that I looted, and then I went to the stronghold. And when I got there, I actually remembered that I never looted the chests, so I looted one of them before jumping into the portal. I created a 3x3 room underneath the bedrock. There's a lot of tutorials on how to do this. I did this probably 3 years ago, and it worked perfectly fine, so here's me hoping that it worked fine again. I very cautiously spawned the Wither, and yay, it worked. He started suffocating. I mean, you can call me lazy if you want, but there is no way I was about to just straight up fight the Wither. This may not be hardcore, but that is still a death wish. Eventually, he perished, and I was finally able to get the star that I needed for the beacon. After making it back to my base, I immediately got to work harvesting my sugarcane so I could make paper. Then I grabbed all of the books that I got in the library from the stronghold at the very beginning, and I set out in search for another village so I could trade with the librarian. And don't ask me how I managed to trap 3 villagers in the same hole. I have no idea how that happened. I traded with the librarian until I was finally able to get glass, which is what I needed to craft the beacon. I elytred back home and I made my beacon. I decided to make my beacon out of gold because it was honestly just the easiest access resource that I had. I placed the beacon behind my house and oh my gosh, it's so cool. I haven't placed a beacon in Minecraft in so long, so this just felt really good. And I decided to make it orange. Eee! And of course it started to rain, but I stood on top of my portal to get a good look. And I spent the final 3 days fishing. Wow, the 100 days are already over. I did not expect to make this much progress. This was such a fun and incredible experience for me. I feel like I learned so much more than I thought I knew, and I am so proud of how everything turned out. I had such a great time, and I hope you guys had a great time with me. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a nice comment down below. It would mean so much to me, and if you want to, you can also check out my other socials, which is in the description. Thank you for watching. Bye!